The tension surrounding the Indiana Fever reached a breaking point as an unexpected conflict began brewing between the fans and the very coach they once celebrated. What began as enthusiastic support for Stephanie White's homecoming slowly transformed into a storm of frustration as the Fever struggled to maintain their early season momentum. The same fan base that proudly embraced her return now found itself publicly questioning whether she was truly the right leader for a team built around one of the most transformative stars in basketball. This wasn't the quiet grumbling of a few irritated supporters. It was a wave, loud, emotional, and relentless, fueled by the belief that the Fever had too much talent to be suffering through inconsistency. And when Fever fans start invoking legendary names like Cheryl Miller, it becomes clear that the temperature of the conversation has changed in a way that can no longer be ignored. Stephanie White's story with Indiana has always been one steeped in nostalgia and hope. A champion at Purdue, a staple of the Fever organization both as a player and an assistant, and a coach with a proven track record, she represented familiarity and experience. When she returned to Indiana after her impressive run in Connecticut, it felt like the perfect alignment of timing, talent, and destiny. Fans envisioned a season defined by growth, victory, and the blossoming partnership between White and Caitlin Clark, a pairing many assumed would become one of the most iconic in the modern WNBA. And for a while, things trended in that direction. White's system seemed to energize the roster, the Fever were playing with confidence, and the historic Commissioner's Cup victory felt like a moment that would define the beginning of a new era. Indiana was hungry and White appeared ready to feed that hunger. Then everything changed the moment Caitlin Clark went down with a groin injury. She played only 13 games the entire season, and her absence exposed every flaw, every limitation, and every uncomfortable truth that had been hidden behind the bright star powering the franchise. Suddenly, the Fever weren't flowing smoothly. The rotations felt disjointed. The offense lacked structure, and the team's late-game composure evaporated. Fans watched in disbelief as once winnable games turned into frustrating losses. They felt helpless as their team slipped in the standings, and as the pressure mounted, they needed someone to blame. That someone became Stephanie White. What made the criticism sting was how specific it became. Fans didn't just resent the losing, they dissected every decision she made. They questioned her substitutions, the minutes she allocated, the adjustments she refused to make. They wondered why players like Lexi Hull weren't receiving consistent opportunities, even when their energy and effort might have stabilized the team during difficult stretches. They complained about stagnant offensive sets, predictable late-game actions, and a defense that seemed to struggle without Clark's floor leadership. The frustration wasn't abstract. It was detailed, targeted, and ruthless. Compounding the issue was the unique pressure that comes with coaching Caitlin Clark. She isn't just a player, she is the economic engine of the franchise, the face of the league's new era, the reason Indiana is even in the national spotlight. Every game she plays inflates ratings. Every highlight she produces trends globally. Every minute she's on the bench or every moment she's forced to sit out sends fans spiraling into anxiety. With a star like Clark, patience becomes scarce. Every loss becomes a crisis. Every coaching decision becomes a referendum on the future. And for the fan base, watching the team unravel during Clark's absence felt like a betrayal of the potential they believed was waiting to explode. But while fans unleashed their fury online, Stephanie White continued to shoulder the pressure with calm professionalism. She never blamed officiating for the team's struggles, even when foul discrepancies were glaring. She didn't point fingers at players for missed shots or lapses in execution. She didn't hide behind Clark's injury as a shield for criticism. Instead, she preached patience, unity, and long-term focus. She defended her team. She protected her players. She made decisions based on health over hype, shutting Clark down for the season to ensure her future wasn't jeopardized. But in a league driven by narratives and expectations, even the most level-headed coach can be swept up in the emotional chaos of fan pressure. That's when the whispers started. And those whispers carried a name powerful enough to ignite the entire state of Indiana: Cheryl Miller. The mere mention of her name stirred something deep within fans. A legend. A pioneer. A force. Her connection to Indiana stretches through her brother Reggie, whose shadow still looms over the city's basketball identity. Her coaching of Team WNBA, where she worked directly with Caitlin Clark during the All-Star Game, became the spark that reignited speculation. Fans saw a chemistry they adored, a moment of connection that made them imagine a future where Miller could be the voice guiding Clark into superstardom. They envisioned her charisma, intensity, and basketball IQ reshaping the Fever's culture overnight. Even though Miller hasn't coached professionally in decades, Even though she has shown no public sign of wanting to return, the idea of Cheryl Miller standing on the Fever sideline became a fantasy fans could not resist. This speculation grew louder after the Fever struggled through the postseason. Despite advancing to the semifinals and finishing with a 24-20 record, fans still felt the team left wins on the table. They believed a championship-caliber roster had been wasted. They felt the momentum Clark created had been squandered. And as frustration spiraled, the simple, emotional narrative took hold. Maybe Stephanie White wasn't the right coach for the biggest star in women's basketball. But for all the noise, one truth remains clear. As of now, Stephanie White is still the head coach of the Indiana Fever. And the front office understands that instability is the enemy of growth. Clark and White barely had time to work together. 13 games is not enough to build chemistry, trust, or rhythm. The Fever know that next season will be the true test. It will decide whether this partnership flourishes or fades. And it will answer whether the fans' frustration was a moment of emotional overreaction or a prediction of what's coming. What happens next is uncertain, but one thing is undeniable. The Indiana Fever fan base expects results. They expect excellence. And they expect Caitlin Clark's prime years to be maximized, not wasted. Whether Stephanie White is the coach who can deliver that